places, they settled, and they haven't made their way back home.
Thus changing the landscape of the city, because
Exactly.
this is a city that heavily relies on tourism, and it's changed. It's absolutely changed. I remember when I was in high school, every guy, when he got off from work, he went down to the quarter because he had a job there. That isn't happening anymore, and I think we need to get a shift going so it happens again, because we need that. We need support. We need, and it would also keep kids out of trouble at the same
Absolutely.
time. There are initiatives in place a lot of people don't know about. There are different organizations that you can work with that are pooling talent, that are guiding the youth in that direction to support our city and make it great again, so that we don't lose revenue as a result. Those organizations are Cafe Reconcile, which I know you work with. You support them greatly, largely. Noki Delgado has a training program as well.
Exactly. Yeah, we're trying to definitely partnership with a lot of those programs that are working with disadvantaged youth, that are having them to realize their culinary dreams. We work a lot with Cafe Reconcile. We do apprenticeships with both back of the house and front of the house staff, and it works to both advantages because of course, with us being short staff, we're able to fill those positions with these people that have gone through an extensive training, and they get some real live restaurant experience. Also, Noki, Delgado, we're pushing a lot to work with those programs to get people back enrolled, get enrollment up in those programs, get people pushed through those culinary programs to be trained in both back and front of the house activities. So definitely a lot of work to be done to get us to where we are. There are a lot of people that are unskilled, unfortunately, that want to apply for some of these positions, and so we're working a lot with getting the skills that they need to be able to do their jobs.
Right, because it could have a great impact on your life. You can start off one day as a dishwasher and end up an executive chef. That's usually the trajectory. Becoming a chef, you have to know every facet of the restaurant. But I mean, if for anybody, any kid that is unsure about their path or what they would like to do, I urge them to get in the kitchen and see. You never know; it could work out for you. One day you can be an executive chef, like most chefs. That was their path. They started off as a busser or a dishwasher and worked their way up the ranks. They got an interest in it. But this city, like I said, is largely reliant on tourism. So we have to get our industry back on track. Absolutely. We've talked with the city and different initiatives. We've pulled statistics in regard to what's happening. You want to share those
Yeah,
statistics?
absolutely. Definitely, there are a lot of conventions coming back, and there are a lot of complaints about restaurants not being open
Right.
on Mondays and Tuesdays, especially. And initially, Bunny, I thought it was the smaller restaurants, but this is happening across all restaurants.
Absolutely.
In New Orleans, unfortunately, the way the restaurant landscape is, about 90% of the restaurants are owned by chains. The rest of the 10% are people like me, the small independent
Right.
restaurants. And I thought it was my plight alone with staffing, but it really isn't.
Right.
My plight is a little bit more difficult because I can't sometimes offer what the big chains can offer,
Correct.
401ks, hospitalization, different things like that. So my plight becomes more of trying to offer something that's more attractive for people to come and join our team. But definitely, we have to make sure that in order to be a hospitality city, we have to make sure that our restaurants, as well as our hotels,
Absolutely.
are open to full capacity. Mardi Gras is coming up, and
Yes.
we're like, oh my God, we're scared. We're not going to be ready for it, but
Right.
we'll get through it.
And it's really right now, most of the industry, the workers that we do have, they're overworked as a result. When you have a huge event as Mardi Gras coming into town, it's like, oh my God, it's like anxiety. It is, because you don't know, can I manage? Will we be able to operate? You do, people, and it's understandable. People, they're working these shifts and they won't be able to come the next day perhaps because they're overworked. So
Yeah.
we need to mitigate that. Absolutely, I think. But also, we were talking about your restaurant. You're downtown. You're a black woman. You're on Gerard Street. Far and few in between.
Hmm.
It's not many of us there. We are hugely responsible for the flavor of the city, the food in the city. Yet we're not represented as such.
Absolutely. It surprised me, the statistics, when I first looked at it when I started this restaurant about 5 years ago. We have over 3,000 restaurants in New Orleans, and about 0.03% are owned by someone black, with a
Wow.
city that represents about probably close to 60% of the population being
And
black.
and
So
we created the cuisine, and it is the reason that you come to New Orleans, because of okra, things like that, which was imported directly from Africa. The seeds were brought over and in the hair of slaves. A lot of people don't know that. That's why okra's here. They brought over a food that was indigenous to them, not knowing where they were going, so that they would have something to eat. That is the reason that we are responsible for the food and the flavor of this city. But why don't we see that reflected in restaurant ownership?
Yeah, I think a lot has to do with opportunity. We talked about the fact that we have these programs like Cafe Reconcile, Cafe Hope, which are vital to really reaching out to a lot of our youth that don't have the opportunity or at risk, that they can realize, understand, the path in the culinary. I worked a lot with Essence a few years ago, just having working with women, black women, trying to realize what their dreams are in the culinary field,
Yes.
that there is a path, that you can obtain that path, that you do have a place. I mean, I started this restaurant with no culinary experience whatsoever, with a pocket full of, like you say, family recipes, because my mom is the best French cook in New Orleans,
Yes,
period.
amen.
So, and we bring a lot to the table, from that standpoint. So I think a lot of solving the issues that we have, or working with those places that are reaching out to people and pulling them into the culinary field that normally would not have that opportunity.
Yes. And what I see nowadays more and more, a lot of people are becoming entrepreneurial in the sense they're starting like I did from home, started at home. That's how that was my story. I started from home. Everyone has tried because the doors have been closed so long to us. So everybody's hustling. You're on the corner, you're popping up, you're at bars, you're doing what you got to do to sell your food, to get your brand out there, to do what you have to do. That is admirable. I know the hustle, I know the struggle. So tip my hat to you all. When I come by, I'm going to get me a burger. I'm going to give me some of your ribs. I'm going to get some of your ball seafood, because I know and I respect the hustle, because I know we aren't included economically. We aren't included, what do you call it, marketing wise. We no one knows. That's the purpose of this show. I want us to get recognition. I want us to be noticed. I want us the focus to be on us. I want those businesses that's probably neglected to be recognized now, to be heard, to be seen, to be patronized. That's what we want to achieve with the show.
Yeah, and there are a lot of resources, even for people that don't have the brick and mortar, that want to grow their business. That how do I do that? Because a lot of people have a lot of ideas, but how do you bring that to fruition is always a challenge. But definitely, like Goldman Sachs, if you go to their website, they have a lot of, like, it's called a 10,000 program, culinary program, something like that. But they help small businesses with their financing, with putting together just different aspects of the
Right,
business.
right,
And also James Beard, the James Beard Foundation. They help a lot of small business that want to. Some people don't want brick and mortar. Some people don't want
right.
to open up a restaurant. But even what you have is a business,
It's the
so it has to
business.
be run like a
And you
business.
still need
Yeah.
financial help. You
Yes.
need marketing help,
Yeah.
And if you could have the best food in the world, but if no one knows you're there, it doesn't matter. And if you don't have the resources to be consistent, it doesn't matter. So, and a lot of people, this is a good thing, because we could talk about this and we can offer solutions, because I know a lot of people simply don't know. I didn't know. It was all a learning process for me. I knew I wanted to cook. I knew how to cook, but how? How do I make this happen? So this will be a good tool for everyone to learn different things, different topics. Just like you said, a lot of people, I didn't know about Goldman Sachs. I didn't know.
Hmm.
Thank you,
Absolutely.
V. But things like that we need to know and we need to share. So if anybody has anything, you can post it on my Facebook page. You can go to my social media. You can go to the Roux Bunny. That's on Instagram, and you can contribute those ideas, those avenues for people to get help who are starting off small, who just have a passion and an idea and a dream, but don't have the means to make it happen.
Absolutely. Small doesn't mean that you shouldn't run like a big business.
Exactly. You should
Definitely.
always envision yourself as a Fortune 500 company,
Yes.
because all Fortune 500 companies weren't. They started off somewhere, and became a Fortune 500 company. So,
Absolutely.
and that
Yeah.
is the goal. We all want to do better and win and win. No one's cooking simply for the love. I love it, but I need revenue, y'all. Yeah. So, what else did we want to talk about today? Let me look. I got to put on my peepers, y'all. Hang on a second. All right. Let's talk about the diversity in the restaurant industry.
Yeah, yeah, we kind of talked about a little bit about the disparity with the in terms of ownership in the restaurant business. Like I say, it blows my mind every time I look at those numbers that, we represent such a low, less than 0.03% of the restaurants in New Orleans. When you look at my category, which is fine dining, the gap becomes even
Even
wider.
smaller.
I
I
think
think
it's a
you
few of
might be.
us.
I think you may be.
Yeah, it's
It's
a
like
few of us.
three, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a few of
really.
us.
It's
Yeah,
like three.
it's a
It's
few of us, and,
three.
and not just that in locality. I mean,
Right.
in the area that we're in, there's not many in the warehouse
Right.
convention
It's almost
area.
impossible.
Yeah,
It's
it's
almost
it's a, it's a
impossible
lot.
to place yourself there because if economically, person and connections
Right,
also
connections.
connections.
That's why I encourage people, to find mentors. I mentor a lot of people.
Yes, you're mentoring
To
me.
to
Thank you.
see people that if you see
Yes,
somebody where you want to be, connect with that person. Don't be
absolutely.
afraid to connect with them. Don't be afraid to ask questions. Don't be afraid to expose yourself to whatever, because that way you can learn what you need to do to get. And most people are going to want to embrace and mentor. I mentor a
Yes.
lot, so
I know, I
yeah,
know. Look, she does. She takes everyone under her wing. What she has done in the short time I've known her is invaluable. I mean, just being honest, and I appreciate that from the bottom of my heart.
absolutely,
You know
yeah,
this, but I mean one day I will be in the same position to take someone else like she did to me under my wing, with
yes.
God's grace. Absolutely, but that is invaluable. Each one teach one. We all have to lift each other up. I agree. And
They say the greatest exercise for the heart. I'm sorry, I have to do this because I'm a doctor. The greatest
do
exercise
it, do it.
for the
Come on,
heart
Doc, do
is to
it.
reach down and lift someone up. So we
Absolutely.
have to keep lifting everyone up.
Absolutely. That's our goal always. Always. I mean, you have to eat 3 times a day. The food world isn't competitive in that manner because we all eat 3 times a day. I may eat with you for breakfast. I may eat with you for lunch. I may eat with somebody else for dinner. So
Right,
it's enough to go around. Share the wealth, share the knowledge, and share the love.
right. And I wouldn't be afraid by that. I mean, my restaurant is in the middle of the best in New Orleans. I'm in the middle of Emeralds, Donald Lane, Creole Cuisine.
Right.
And actually, when we first opened the restaurant, people said, "Are you crazy? You're opening up a restaurant surrounded by all these guys?" And I'm like, "Yeah, no. Are you worried?" I'm like, "No, I think they should be worried because
Yes, yes,
I got
yes.
some recipes that's gonna knock some things out." So don't
Absolutely.
be afraid.
Never.
Be challenged by those things. Don't be afraid, but be challenged and elevate yourself. And like I say, get a mentor, and make sure that you get any direction that you need.
Absolutely. And the same thing happened. I had a location in mind for our babies, of course. And someone was like, well, I'm not going to say the restaurant that was nearby. It was like, they're over there. I'm like, and what? I'm like, look, the same corner over, 2 blocks over, on one side of the street is a Burger King, on the other side is McDonald's. And who are bigger competitors than those two?
Right.
So, you do what you do, and I do what I do. Like I said, it is what it is. We all eat 3 times a day. It's enough to go around.
Yeah.
You may not eat me today, you might eat me tomorrow. So
Hmm.
that won't ever be a problem. We can all win together.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I
A
thank
lot
you
of
so
room for a
much.
lot of us to do that.
Yes, absolutely. We just, like I said, we need some help getting there, and we need staff. we need resources, absolutely, and we need information.
Right.
So we want to share those resources and information. That's what we want to do because, like I said, no one knows. We'll be right back.
Here we go, here we go. I came to rock right now. And the captain is right there in the building. Don't give that, don't give that, don't give that, don't give that, give me that.
If you're looking for a great neighborhood restaurant with incredible food, Lil Dizzy's Cafe is the place for you. Located in the heart of Treme on Esplanade, serving lunch including gumbo and their famous fried chicken. They will be open on February 11th, Sunday Grade, 11 to 3 p.m. Laissez les bon temps rouler at Lil Dizzy's Cafe, 1500 Esplanade Avenue. What's up, everybody? This is Bunny, the host of The Roux, and I would like to let you know the Vault is open for a magnificent New Orleans brunch, Sundays beginning at 11 a.m. and open on Friday nights for food and drinks and live music. The Vault, where people go to sip, savor, and socialize. Located at 501 Verrett Street in Old Algiers. Bonjour. For a taste of French fare and cocktails, visit Vyoone's, nestled in the Warehouse District on Girard Street. Vyoone's is a modern, chic French bistro serving Creole and French cuisine. The perfect ambiance and setting, Vyoone's is a beautiful hidden gem. Madame Vyoone is the most gracious host. We hope to see you soon at Vyoone's, 412 Girard Street in the Warehouse District. All right, we're back right now, and I have a few more questions for Vyoone. I'm so glad she's here today, y'all. She's taking the edge off.
So am I.
I wasn't nervous because people ask, they're like, "Are you nervous?" I'm like, "Thought never occurred to me till you asked." But I mean, I have good help with me today, a good support system. So I want to ask you, what advice? Because you're, like I said, you're well versed. You started out without any knowledge, but you've mastered it. You've mastered the course, and you always give me the best advice. What advice would you give a young, up and coming, not young, anyone, up and coming chef or cook who would like to start a brick and mortar or just a business model to be successful?
Yeah, I think the first thing I would say is be very clear about what you want from that business, because you'll be surprised at what you can accomplish once you decide to go on that path. So I think define the concept is important and sticking with that. There are many people that try to deter me away from my concept because we're fine dining, and they're like, "Oh, you're more casual." No, I'm fine dining.
Absolutely fine
And
dining.
finally, I think about a
Yes.
year ago, we got nominated one of the top 5-star fine dining restaurants in New Orleans. I'm
Awesome,
like, finally,
awesome,
somebody
awesome,
get it.
awesome,
Finally,
awesome.
somebody get it.
I took your bell,
but
Oliver.
I think definitely define what your concept is, and I think know what your strengths are. Like I knew coming into this that I had a pocket full of family recipes. I knew business, but I didn't know anything about the restaurant business.
Right.
So I partnered with someone who taught me about the restaurant business, who was my mentor. And that helped significantly. So definitely know what your strengths are coming into it, because you're not going to know every aspect of every business.
Absolutely.
But work on your strengths and definitely work on your weaknesses and make sure you make those things stronger. So that's why I say a mentor is very important.
Vital.
Yeah,
It
a mentor
is.
is very important.
Because, like I said, I was winging it. Now, I'll be honest. I like the first year, I just was doing what. Well, I won't say that. It was a learning process, and I enjoyed it. I did. I went from pop ups to cooking from the house to doing whatever. But I was trying to find my groove. So that people like, oh yeah, I'm like consistent. I'm like, yeah, consistency comes when you get it, when you have a plan and you in place. You have to figure. I was literally figuring it out, and I did. I asked people that I knew. I asked questions. But sometimes people, they can't answer those questions. You do have to find out what works for you. But then once you have a clear, like you said, concept and idea, and it all came together for me, like miraculously it did. Like I said, finding my way. But now I could come to you with questions, because now the questions you have the answers to the questions that I have, because I have a clear vision of what I want to do now. I know what works for me now and what doesn't, from trying all those different formats. I had a lot of fun doing it too.
Yeah, and there's going to be a lot of along the way, along the path, you're going to stall a lot. I mean, there's
Yeah.
a lot of times, even now, we've been in business for 5 years, and I'm still trying to grow in different aspects of it, and I'm struggling with, and I'm reaching out to, okay, who has expertise here that I can reach out to help me
Right.
with this? So you're going to struggle, you're going to stall, you're going to go back and forth, but you follow your passion. You follow what concept that you have in heart, because that's what your dream is, not anyone else's dream. And just don't let people deter you from it. Many people are going to try and say, well, you should do this instead, do that
Right.
instead, this
Yeah, that's
instead.
like
And
the-
that's good that people care about you
They
to get
do,
to
but
tell
you
you
gotta
that.
tune
Yeah.
it out.
Yeah,
Because
you have to
I'm
stay your
like,
path.
you're a sheriff, or you're a police officer, you're whatever. Really,
Yeah.
Even my own mom sometimes I'm like, okay, chef. I'm sarcastic. I'm like, okay, chef.
Right, right.
But you're right about that. What works for one may not work for the other. That's just what it is. But
Absolutely. But I think also be sure that's what you want, because there are so many successful models in the culinary industry that's not brick and mortar.
right,
So just, be sure that that's what you want. I mean, if
Right.
you want a restaurant, then, definitely it's something that you can accomplish. I know if I could do it, I can really honestly say that anybody can do it. I
Yeah.
really can, because I had no restaurant experience or knowledge whatsoever.
And look how far
And
you've
we have
come.
come a long way. We
Yes.
have been named with the best of the best in New
Yes.
Orleans. We're surrounded by the best of the best. And I keep saying we hold on with the boys around us. So,
Yeah, exactly. And as a woman,
so
as a
yeah.
black woman, that's admirable. Because
Yes.
the deck is stacked against you. It just is what it is.
Yeah, so just be
It's
sure
stacked
that's what
against
you want. And if you
Yeah.
want that, there are many resources. There are a lot of resources. There are a lot of programs that can help you. I mean, the city has a lot of programs through their disadvantaged business entity office. There are equity.
DBE, which a lot of people don't know about. That is something we'll share on our page as well. The resources to hook yourself up with that, because it's necessary for you to get advantages that exist, so that you may not be aware of. So you need to hook up with DBE, absolutely.
Yes,
And
exactly.
I learned that from Vyoone.
Yeah, there's a
That's
lot of opportunities. Yeah. At first, I was kind of like, I'm not disadvantaged. I'm just like anybody else. But, it opened up a lot of doors, when
Absolutely.
I did it. And doors that I probably would not have opened had it not. So definitely don't, be open-minded. Like I said, you steer your course and stay your path, but always be open-minded. I listen to
Absolutely.
everyone, and then I'd
Yes.
like, okay, well, I'm going to take that and just, and then, no, I'm not going to take that. No, I'm not going to. I'm going to take this. So always listen, but always, steer your path, because you know what your passion is, and you know what you want to do eventually.
And you
So,
know how you want to present yourself to the world as well. I have a question for you, and I know you can't wait to answer it. How's business?
business is going really well. I just don't have enough employees.
Right. That's throughout the industry.
I turn
Again,
away business.
That is happening a lot. All of
Yes.
my food friends are having that issue. It's the business isn't the issue, the problem. Getting the people there. It's once they're there, what are you going to do? Who's going to help them? Who's going to serve them? Who's
Yes.
going to wash these dishes? Who's going to do that? So we want to focus on that and get the ball rolling and the conversation started about that, about getting staffing again. I mean, a lot of people don't realize a lot of servers are averaging $30 to $45 an hour.
Yeah, they
That's
do
a
pretty
fact.
well. They do pretty
I know
well.
you know from your own payroll.
Yeah, they do pretty well. I mean, there was this whole thing, I guess, during the pandemic about, they're making more money on this versus that, and $15 an hour. And although we have that like tip pay or whatever, but even with that tip pay, my service average $34 an hour. They
Yes.
do pretty well.
That's
because
more
it's-
than skilled workers.
Yeah, it's fine dining.
Yeah.
We have we add gratuity to bigger tables. We have
And
a lot
that's
of
just credit
high-end
card
wines.
tips. It isn't cash included with that. That's outside.
Yeah.
That's still without
It's
the
every-
cash
yeah.
accounted,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So you still get cash tips as well. So, I mean, for anybody that's thinking about it, we need waiters and servers and back waiters and bussers and dishwashers. Yeah, I know typically you may not go to Indeed or to Craigslist or whatever, but every week I intend to do a job roll call for the service industry. So you'll know these opportunities exist if you're interested in culinary art.
Yeah, and even for servers, I mean, don't be intimidated by coming from a casual or whatever situation to fine dining,
Right.
because there are training opportunities there.
Right.
I interview a lot of people that say, well, I've never done fine dining. I'm kind of nervous about it, and things like that. And I try to encourage them and say, well, you're always going to be nervous about it, but you can do so much more in this area of dining versus that, in terms
Yes.
of compensation, opportunity, and things like that.
Absolutely.
So don't be afraid to step for the servers, back waiters, runners, back of the house, front of the house people. Don't be afraid to step outside your comfort zone, because
Absolutely.
only stepping outside that you're going to be rewarded with the things that you truly should be
So
rewarded with.
I think I prefer fine dining because I've slung hash before. I worked at a Greasy Spoon many moons ago, and I mean, but I think I would prefer fine dining to that.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
mean, not and would like you said with the scale, the salary scale. You have a higher ticket price, so you're gonna get a higher tip average from it. So the money is there, y'all. It's there if you want to make it. So.
Yeah.
We need workers. We need staff. Tell your nephews, tell your nieces, tell your little cousins that we need people in the industry to keep our industry going. To
Well,
support.
it's vital for New Orleans. I mean, we're a
Yes.
hospitality city, and it's not just the restaurants.
No, it's the hotels as well.
The hotels are
Absolutely.
suffering as well too.
Absolutely,
yeah.
especially hotels with several outlets. I know I worked for a hotel in the past. I won't name them either, but they had like 3 or 4 outlets. So imagine trying to staff all of those, and just in general, COVID, the pandemic, it wreaked havoc on the industry. I watched it. I watched downtown become a ghost town. Literally from bustling with people to becoming a ghost town. I watched the people that didn't return back to work, that left the industry, So we're in a crisis with that. Also without the training, like we're not developing the young people anymore with the training to be skilled workers, and we want to change that. Like I said, Cafe Reconcile, all of those organizations are great. They're great to have to start somewhere to keep kids out of trouble, so you don't have to worry about your car being broken into or some other things, because that's just what it is. It's just idle time, and it's not being productive. There are things they can do to be productive, and we would like to encourage that.
Absolutely.
Yes. So what else would you like to add?
Well, I'm so excited for you doing this show. I actually bought you a gift for your first show.
Oh, you are the sweetest. She is too
Because
sweet.
I
What is
think
it?
that you are going to be the next Tom Fitzmaurice.
Oh,
so,
yes. What is it, girl?
and I'm excited
It's a Louis
that
bag.
your show. No, Chanel.
I don't like those anymore. I like Le Creuset. I prefer, yeah.
But I know you're creative, and we are going to be doing our above and beyond experiences at the restaurant.
Yes,
and I'm
yes,
counting on you
yes.
to make some whiskeys for us.
Oh, I got you. Oh, you are the sweetest. Thank you so much.
Congratulations.
Oh,
I'm
thank
excited for you.
I am too. Have you decided where we're going for lunch?
I know. Is it lunchtime?
It is. I brought gumbo though for everybody in the studio. Sorry, listeners.
Well,
Maybe next time.
Well, we had a little lunch party last night at the restaurant for Chef. And
Yeah,
I tell you, that crawfish bisque, I think my staff was like taking containers of it home. They were like, "Oh, you going to have it?"
I got
want it."
rave reviews. My sister called this morning. She's like, "I think that was your best batch ever." I said, "Yeah, I was trying to make a good impression."
It was delicious. Yeah, it was
I'm
very
glad
good.
everyone enjoyed it. Thank you so much. You are the
Yeah,
sweetest.
congratulations. We're looking
So
forward
what
to
I'm doing,
much
I'm making-
success.
Yes,
And
thank
anything that
you.
we can do to support you, anything that we can do to move things along, and any conversations that we need to have around the community and saving our hospitality industry. I tell people,
Absolutely.
definitely I'm open to do that. And congratulations. I'm very, very proud of you.
Thank you so much,
Very
V. I
proud of you.
appreciate it. I hope everyone enjoyed the Roux. I hope you return next week. Next week, I'm going to tell y'all how to cook something. How about that? We're going to talk about that on air and maybe give you a few recipes, too. And talk about some restaurants, too, that you should try. So check me out next week. This is Chef Bunny with the Roux.
WBOK 1230 AM New Orleans. Home of the reality check. Weekdays 1 to 4 p.m.
This news